G'day everyone, welcome back to Steve's Place Down Under. Today we're going to try and start this Massey Ferguson TE20. We roughly worked out that it's been sitting in the shed since 1970, 71 or something like that. Hasn't been going ever since, it's never been started since. You can see the rust on the front wheel here. I'll give you a quick walk around in a minute. So it was a dirt floor in this shed. The tyres went flat over the years and then she just kept sinking in the ground and rusted the bottom off all the rims. So the spark leads and the starter's been raided. That's all I can see so far. So you'll notice she's sitting in a bit different stance to the thumbnail. Now that thumbnail was only taken yesterday afternoon before I put wheels on it. Now the reason it's got wheels on it between now and the thumbnail is a company reached out to me wanting to offer me parts so I could do a collaboration video. So I did, and I reached out and wanted to get parts for this so I could get it rolling, and I'll probably never use it, but just so it's not just a dead weight sitting here. So they kindly came through with some rear rims and tubes for it, and I already had tyres. So now I've got to get some front ones, which they didn't have in stock, but I know they're only $100 or something each off eBay or something like that. So I'll do a quick walk around of her. So it's basically a barn find, which some people might call it. You can see how long she sat in the shed. The wheels are just completely rotted off in the back, were the same. Here's one here I took off yesterday. So that collaboration video is actually going to be after this. This is filmed today, so it's going to be released on the same day. So you can see where she sat there. So that rim's completely had it. And the other one off the other side, I don't even know where I put it. Here it is here. That's the one off the other side here. And she's full of rust, but on the top side of it, you can see where I've cut it out. And I stitched it into that one there because it was sitting for 50 odd years too. And because the same thing happened to her, because they're both 28-inch tyres, I cut the piece out of that rim and sewed it into that one so I could get tyres on it. So, there's the other one there. Basically a barn find. So the mate of mine, Pato, he's got a little tilt tray. He knows the bloke as well as I do, only from the next town over that we bought it off, and it was his wife's, so it was his father-in-law owned it. They knew I was into tractors, and he offered it to me for a couple $100 or something I'll give for it. But apparently a very low-hourred tractor, because it wouldn't have been real old at the time. Well, when I say real old, probably 20-year-old when it was put in the shed, but certainly wasn't working up until today. Starter and leads are missing off it, but I just got a set of silicone leads I'll put on there. They would have been copper because they had the old screw-in type there, but she'll still throw a spark through those leads. And I had a wonderful subscriber, Alan, send me a starter motor. Now, if you're watching, mate, please send me an email. I tried to send you one this morning, but I can't find your details. I'd just like to thank you again for that. It's been a while, but it sort of hasn't been the right time to start the thing until now. So we're going to put that starter on, and you'll see all that oil on the engine. So when we unloaded it, still had the back tyres on it. She wouldn't roll off the tilt tray, and we didn't lift the tray up, so we had a forklift here, so we just lifted it. But I went straight under there, and she was balancing nicely, and I was going back and back, and then she slowly started rolling over. It was only low, because one tyre had water in it and one didn't, so she was a bit off balance. Weighted one side, and then she rolled right over and sat on the bonnet, so she was like a turtle laying upside down on its back. It didn't even bend the steering wheel, it didn't hurt anything. So that's why there's oil down the side of the engine. And I did have that on film, but the forklift was out of the, all you can hear is us two giggling when it happened, so you couldn't actually see it. That is on video way back. I've had it for 12 months or so now. So what we're going to do is just going to see if we can put the starter on. She does turn by hand. Put the starter on. We may have to pull the old carby off it and see what happens. The tank's full of rusty looking stuff, but I'll I'll just clean that bowl out and put a little bit in her and see if that should catch a bit of the sediment, just so we can get that carby topped up and see if she'll go. It's got enough oil in it, hasn't got any water in it. I did crack that when I first got it. Just took the sump out and there was no water in the bottom, just the plug. Put some water in her and just see if she goes. I might just sit a 12 volt coil there. I'd imagine that'd be 6 volt. But, you know, it'll run for that long anyway, being 6. Pretty good order, really. That didn't happen on the rollover. That was like that. And the guards took a lot of the weight, but anyway. Okay, we'll put the starter on it first, see if we can get it winding over. And then we'll pop the plugs out and check them and see if we can get a bit of Bob Clark there on each of them, or just generally clean these points under those caps there, in my experience, or the radiator's had it. Just see the brace on the radiator there's pulled out. Anyway, she won't hold water, but it'll hold enough to start it. Okay, here it is. Now, Alan, thank you, mate. Your name was gone off the top of the box. I remember it being there, but when I opened it, you'd left a note in there. So thanks very much, and I'll send you an email to thank you, mate. It's very, very kind of you. So that's brand new. I wasn't aware that it was new. That's just magnificent. Thanks very much, mate. Sorry it's taken so long, but I sort of wanted to get some wheels and stuff for it, so it didn't stir me up starting it, not being able to drive it. I still can't drive it, but I'm a lot closer. You can probably hear all the bird life this hour of a Sunday morning. It's about 8:30 Sunday morning, and you generally don't take notice of the birds down here. You only realise when you play a video back and watch it that how noisy they actually are, but I can hear them well this morning. Sort of lucky that's all that was pinched off. This is the leads and the starter. It's all replaceable stuff. There's a bit of grit on that flywheel, like possibly spun and picked something up out of the bottom. It's only, hope it's not clutch material, only dirt or something. Well, she certainly fits. So I've been doing truck content for a while now, and all my subscribers are possibly just based off trucks. We're trying to do the tractor thing as well, which is, I'm equally as interested in tractors as trucks. Trucks you can't always do something with, because I don't use them all the time unless we're just working on them, but tractors you can always play with around home here. I won't be changing the oil in it till I work out the condition of the engine, see if it runs properly. A lot of people do say, why don't you change the oil and this and that, and that can happen after. I'm not going to spend money on oil and filters if it's no good. Plus it's not something I use. I've got a diesel 35 3-cylinder Fergie, which is a much better thing in my eyes. but still good to have it running and movable and drivable. Possibly had to be through that top bolt there. I'll just turn yours off. I bring this back in. I didn't want to bore you by taking that bolt back out and back on. Probably should give that lead a scuff first. Still very common in Australia, these TU20s. You go to a show and if there's not 30 of them, there'd be 40. But, you know, still certainly worth saving it. I'll have to file that out. She's a bit bit smaller than the stud. It's even smaller than the file. Try to loosen her up a bit so we can give her a rub. Tool supply is limited down here in the bush. If I had her up in the workshop, I'd probably drill it out or use the die grinder or something. She's fairly coarse too. It's going on, but I'll just loosen her a little bit more. Now you start these old things with the gear stick, but I put it in that position yesterday just when I was down here having a play with it, and it didn't seem to want to go into that position, so we can still start it, we can just cross it over here, but unless something's seized in there or whatnot, I'm not sure. I was assuming she may have been positive ground, but it's not really looking like that. I don't think these leads are going to reach what I've got here. If I put it in back the front, the positive won't reach, I don't think. Not off to a good start, are we? Okay, so the only battery I've got that fits in there, so those leads, they all fit, but the leads don't reach, it has only got about 10 volts in it after just doing a load test on it, so that's not going to work. But I've just set this one here on the ground, so we'll try and see if it actually winds it over. We can still start it off the ground here, find a good earth. We'll see what she does. Oh. Well, it's not super fast, but it's possibly all they ever did. But we'll pop them plugs out and we might give her another wind with those out, just in case there's any oil or anything sitting on top of those pistons. At least it turns, that's the main thing. Is there a socket missing? So in the rollover, it must have, I'll show you when I move the camera again, it must have hit that radiator to some extent because it's pulled the brace from the thermostat housing to the header tank. It's pulled that out of the header tank, so it's a bit of a shame, but nothing I couldn't fix. It just adds to the work to do to it, that's all. But possibly it did squash that bonnet where I thought it was doing a walk around of it when it was still on the truck. I thought it might have been there. It doesn't matter. Certainly didn't mean to do that. It couldn't be helped, so I did provide some funny entertainment for a little bit. Not that I like destroying things, but how it happened and everything, it just tickled my fancy a little bit. Okay, they're pretty clean. Not sure what sort of vision you got there, but that's very good. It's not oily. It's not. Looks like it's been burning fairly well. In the very, very early 70s, I believe. Slight bit of corrosion, but not like it's full of water or anything, just a little bit white. That's perfect, that one. I'd say she's a good thing. Yeah. Gap's a little bit close on that, but it's not bad at all. I'll give her another spin with those out, just I'll stand aside and see what she does. No compression on number 2. I don't really blame her though. I think the others have got enough to start, and then when she warms up, she might come good. To sort that out, we'd have to take the fuel tank off and buggerise around with that, then take the tappet cover off and see if they're stuck. They're sucking back in too, which makes me think that suction should be through the carburetor, not my finger. Unless it was on the power stroke and just when it blew off, it sucked it back down. Anyway, we'll try and get a bit of spark and fuel and go from there. I think this coil will work. I'd imagine it's 6 volt. And what I'll do, I'll take that power wire off because there's no key, and I'll just put a wire from there to the power on this battery here and just do it all from the ground. Just get you off the tripod here and give you a closer look at what's happening. So, you've seen there, they're always very well protected, these distributors that have that protective cap on them. You see a little bit of corrosion though in those points, so I'll give them a slight rub, and then we'll hook that coil up. If they're sparking there and getting to the cap, well, that's that side of it done. Then we'll just go around and see if we can get some petrol to it. Just open these points up with a small little file here. They're fairly corroded for some reason. So when he pulled this out of the shed had actually collapsed around it many years ago, and she was still under the tin though. So she's been fairly well protected all that time. It's just a dirt floor where she happened to sink. I don't know why these are so heavily corroded. I suppose being clean and everything and moisture in the air. I don't like filing them this much because it takes a lot of it off, but it's got to be done till there is a good contact. Okay. I'll just take this wire off the coil here so it doesn't backfeed back into the dash. Even though there's no key on, I don't know what sort of condition that's in. It could backfeed into something, and anyway, we'll just eliminate that. So I found this, didn't have any wire down here, but I've got my starter button, which I just taped in with a socket, so it completes that circuit. So fairly rough, but I guess it's going to work. There's a rough connection somewhere there. It's not doing anything. I have got a 12 volt coil on hand here. I brought down for another job, still in the car there. I might sit that on her, and I don't want to hurt this old tin one, but she might be had it. I could check all these connections, I guess, but it should be completing a circuit when I close those points. I've got this old 12 volt coil I had on a side valve V8 up in the shed there. I done a start up on. It's not a Bosch or anything. I think it's only an eBay job, but it does work. It's got its own wire on it too that I was running the old forward off. Yeah, so she's got sparked, that one. It was either that connection or that coil is the problem. So we'll leave that. Put the cap back on. We'll have to time it too because there's no leads on it. 1342 I think they are. It's nice and clean. And the old rotor button's tidy. I'm not even going to clean that just so I don't take any off it. It's more than enough to work. Got the old cap here, but she sat out in the moisture last night. Not really going to do it any favours until it's dry. Give her a spray with something. Just took that plate back off. I'm just going to make sure it is sparking when she turns, which it should be. The gap's right. Sort of looks to me that they are closed. Yeah, they're sparking, you can hear it there. Okay, very good. The gap shouldn't have changed sitting there, but I did file a bit off it. So put this back on, and to find your firing order, so you need to know what the firing order actually is. And then you also need to work out what way that spins. It's marked on there. We'll just check that, so it's counterclockwise by the look of it. Counterclockwise. And then we need to find compression on number 1. That's just gone around. I really thought that'd Okay, that's compression. So now we need to find top dead down through that hole very carefully. Direction of rotation of the engine. Roughly top dead there, and then when we put that cap on, that you put number 1 lead on the terminal or the post where that is facing. So that there will be number 1, and direction of rotation, so 1, 2, 4, 3 or 1, 4, 3, 2, whatever I just said it was. Might just clean that cap out a bit more. Okay, I just went through my drawer up there and found some 8mm bloody silicon leads. Probably not the best thing, but as long as they're contacting. Let's press it down so that boot holds it. Wrong coil. Didn't really bring one for the coil. I'll just have to make something up here. I thought years ago I bought a roll of this stuff, the copper, the old copper leads, but I can't seem to find it. There's a little bag of terminals from too. Not sure where that went. Okay, I just went pinch one off I've got a KB5 48 inter over there. Pinch one off her just for the coil. Fairly rough, but so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if that's all working. If one throws a spark, I'd say the rest are going to. I'll try and earth her out there somewhere. I'm not holding the bugger, I know that. Nope, she's not sparking. I suppose I've got fairly high expectations through these for something that's so old, like lead wise. Probably not a great earth either, that rusty old tappet cover. And we'll try the petrol tap, that should be much better. These old leads hit really hard. Even though they're insulated, they still hit. Oh, that's not real good, Steve. Bloody loose, that. Okay, Ron, I've been doing a bit of buggerising around off camera, and 3 of the silicon leads I brought down were no good. I put them in the coil and just directly eliminating the cap, and they just wouldn't spark at all. So went and raided a few more off the old inter over there. I I've got spark at them all now through these old plugs, so we'll put the plugs back in, then we'll have to move around to the fuel side of it. Got one plug here with just a thread on the end of it, but I'll just squash one of them leads, and it's all just to see if she's going to go, then get a proper tune-up kit later if I do anything with it. A few of the gaps are a bit closer than what I'd like to, but I have adjusted those. There's one here that I missed. Just swap the end off this plug onto that one because that lead I can't really squash down, but there is an exposed one here that I'll close up to go onto that. Okay, so it's 1, 3, 4, 2. This is 4, so I need 4 to be the plug with that end on it. 2's that one there. Remembering 2 had no compression. What I might do is just drift a bit of ether into the carby, just see if she is going to fire off before we spend more time on the fuel system. Make sure that cap is working and they're all getting sparks still. She should do something with that, even if a couple of them are sparking. Okay, so she's not firing off the ether, but who knows, the choke could be stuck, like closed. It might be dragging it up into the engine. It's got to have spark on at least one of them plugs. It's not trying to do anything, so I'm going to try and I'll just take that carby off, we'll clean her out and see what we can do from there. If she doesn't go this time, I'll have to get a set of proper leads for it and eliminate all those bodgy connections. I know all the governor's seized, but it should be seized in the open position, so it should drag that ether up into her. Bearing in mind one cylinder isn't sucking at all because it's got no compression. I'd say a valve's stuck, but none of them might have enough compression. I don't know. All right, everyone. I was going mad. I had to watch. I don't know if anyone watches in Bundy Bear's shed, Lance. I just had to watch. I know you watch me sometimes, mate. Just had to watch one of your videos because this was seized here, and I couldn't for the life of me work out. So I think they were both seized open, and so I could only get. It was only going back to 3/4 throttle, and the choke was seized. Now I had to watch one of your videos. I didn't realise that had to slide there. That was completely rusted. Now I've fixed that. It makes a whole bunch more sense. But in the meantime, that broke off there where the choke lever goes up to your dash. Admittedly, it does pull into that groove, but it can bounce out fairly easy. So I'm not going to buy a new carby just for that. But yeah, I had to watch one of your videos, Lance, to bloody figure that out, mate. I couldn't for the life of me. I thought it was all part of it, and that was actually a pinch bolt for the whole knot, not just that tube there. So anyway, we're back on track. I'll end up pulling that carby apart now, just clean the jets and the float out. I'm not going to do a full rebuild. I just want it to run, see what happens with her. Okay, I can't get her to fire off just spraying Aerostart into the manifold, so I don't know if it's still a spark problem. I'm not keen on those silicon leads in that cap because they're not a real good fit at all. But it's a late model coil and everything, so if there's contact, it should be still working. Anyway, we'll do this side of it. If we can't get it going today, I might have to order some leads online or something. Maybe even a cap. I just don't want to spend too much money on it. I want to see it go. And these original parts she's got. Basically just want to check the fuel bowl, the needle, the main jet. I have a suspicious feeling that we're going to tear the gasket too. You can buy one of these carbies for $100 off eBay, and they come pretty well tuned, fairly cheap, I think. Actually, that's not in bad condition at all. The gasket's still good. You see she shrunk a bit here, but that won't affect it. I thought that had a little detent that lines up and it lets it come out, but might be pressed. I could be wrong. Doesn't matter. Look at that. It's been a long time sitting. That's that old petrol. Needle's good. I think I'm only going to blow that out. I don't even think I'm going to clean that properly. Bit of like dirt sort of stuff in there, but there's no sticky varnish or anything that they usually have. So I'll just give her a rinse off camera. There's nothing blocked at all. It's good. So I've got the bowl full of petrol. Nope. If I had her up in the workshop, I'd do a much tidier job. Use the air, use the tip cleaners, probably even the ultrasonic cleaner, but I don't think it needs it at the moment. I think it's going to run just fine. I think spark's going to be its drama. I still don't believe there is spark to those plugs, even though I seen it when they were off, because she should have trouser coughed or something out of that inlet manifold, or she should have fired in some way with air start straight in the manifold, but she didn't. But you know, maybe the petrol might have more of an effect on her, and if we give her some choke. I have seen machines where Aerostart won't work. I'll bolt her back on and just choke her and see what she does. Actually, I've got to free that governor lever up. She's seized on that clevis there. So I just backed the nut off. I don't know if it worked itself loose or it was just the tolerance was too tight, and that little bit of build up of rust and dirt and stuff in there made it bind up. Anyway, so that's your throttle control. Probably be a good little tractor with a rake or something on her. They're easy to use. I've got a Massey Ferguson 25 or a 20, whatever she is, made in France it is, and it's a good tractor to drive and easy to use, but you cannot get parts for it. Got a Perkins in it. That's the only real thing that's common between that and in a British built one, so you can get the parts for the engine, but nothing else really exists for them. So I do worry about using it. I've got two of them. I tried selling one, which is the better one. I tried selling, but no one seemed really interested in it. But you know, maybe put the rake on this one if we do get it going, and they just use so much fuel compared to the diesels. Just so I'm not wearing the other one out, because the brakes are nearly impossible to get from, they reckon. I had a few ring me just when it was advertised, see if I wanted to sell bits and pieces off it, just brake bands and that, and I wasn't at all interested in that, but it made me realise more and more how little parts are available for them. So to use something like this, where parts are available, seems make more sense to me. They just cost more in petrol. Already cost me a fortune to mow the lawns in petrol, and you'd be sort of, if you're using this to rake the lawn, rake the roads and everything that I use, like a stick rake, it'd be more money again weekly. Where diesel, just you can fill them up and they'll go for months and months. The petrol stuff's a bit more, not as economical. I haven't got a split pin down here for that, but look, it's sort of spring loaded towards the carby anyway, so it's basically pushing itself into the carby anyway. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of a problem, that. The throttle control through the dash is seized too. I would say you can see it's moving here, it's not moving down in there, and that control rod across the engines, it's free also up until here, so it's up in. She is freeing up, but I can't really. Oh, I probably can through here. Just get some spray on the rest of it. Like a friction type wheel here to hold it in position by the look of it. There she goes. That's nice. I'll leave it right off or down a little bit. I'm going to give that a go. That's going to be a bugger to when we do eventually use her with that rod there. Might have to find another old carby off a wreck and pull that bloody lever off it, just so I've got that complete hole there. I haven't hooked the fuel up because the bowl is full. I filled it up when we put the top back on it. It's not connected to this air cleaner. That needs cleaning out. You can see all the snorkel that goes into the dash, all that rubber pipe's all corroded, melted away, and I'd have to clean that element. So she's on choke. It's on a little bit above idle. I don't think it's going to do anything because I couldn't get the ether to fire off, but she might like the petrol better, so we'll see what she does. You've got to be joking me. You've got to be joking. Put in the hasn't run since 1971. Can you believe it? And there you go. So that's how economical they are. That bowl was, well, not quite a handful, but she used all that. That's just unbelievable. It didn't even pop off the ether, and then it just ran like that. Okay, we've got to get fuel supply to it now and put some more water in it. Okay, I'm still in shock. I didn't even think look at all these wires and bits and pieces. So the engine itself sounded great. No mechanical knocks or anything. So I'm just going to clean this bowl out now. The tank has got rust in it, but providing it doesn't block up here, that should settle in that glass bowl and just give us a fuel supply to see how she's going to run until we get some wheels for the front of her. The only pair of grips I've got, massive. Just not sure if that's stuck open or closed. Haven't got a lot of feel with something like this. So for those of you who do like watching tractor videos, I'm going to give Lance a shout out because his information just then to show me how that carburetor worked was great. So Bundy Bear Shed, give him a look. I've seen him comment on my videos before, so certainly worth looking into him. This has got all sort of old varnish. But how many things I start, I still get excited, especially when they've sat since 1970, 71, whatever it happens to be. There we go. Yeah, she doesn't look real good up in there. Might just pop that right off actually and give her a flush over on the back of the car. my next worry, having it break off in the tank. It's only a cast aluminium part. Certainly better quality than what you'd buy today. Put a bit of thread tape on. Oh, look at that, look at the bugger. So that's what's going to save us. So, you know, that sits up. You're going to leave about that much petrol in using something like that, but that stops all the sediment going into the tap because it obviously settles. It's a fair bit of fuel they're leaving in her. I might just shorten that a little bit while it's off, but yeah, look at that. That's what we've got to overcome before we put it back on. Tank really needs pulling off, but not going to happen today. Put that bit of fuel in there and it's going to help loosen it all up anyhow. Okay, Ron, I cleaned that out. That's the petrol's not having any, that's all I've got to clean it with down here. The petrol's not having any effect on this gum that's caught in it at all. So I just flicked it all out, cleaned the orifices so the fuel can get through, shorten that, and by taking a couple of mil off that, you're probably adding, I don't know, 5 or 6 litres to more in the tank, because I cut a fair bit off it. So I just pulled the gasket because it was cork, it was completely buggered. I've got an OS6 International next to us here. I just pulled the gasket out of that. I'm going to screw this back on and we'll put some petrol in and see if we can run it for 5 or 10 minutes and get some warmth through it, and it'll do it the world of good. I'll just buy another one of these. You can buy the complete unit. I didn't even touch the tap just so I don't disturb it. Probably should check that's free. Fair bit of stuff come out of it by the sound of it hitting the leaves over there. If we go and have a malt sandwich and get rid of the taste, I think. You think that all that old lacquer in that thing, in that bowl would, being that it was petrol, you think petrol would loosen it back up again, but it must be the difference in quality from years ago to today's stuff. I haven't got a proper toolkit in this car because I got one at work. I am an earth moving mechanic. I've got a set there. I've got a set in the shed. I've got a set in the trucks that we go away with. I've got tool sets everywhere, so I haven't really spent too much on another kit, to be honest. I keep hinting for those tool sponsors, but I'll get lots of people reach out wanting to give me stuff, but none of them are ever real relevant to the channel. Okay, I'm going to put a bit of fuel in it, just so it flows through the pipe to the carburetor. Give that a bit of a flush and we'll connect her up. I hope you're all excited as I am to see it run for a little bit longer. Bear in mind that the cylinder 2 had no compression, so it'll be interesting to see if that comes back in. The old tank looks like she's got a hole in it. The bowl's slowly filling up, so we'll just let it drip. Looks like she's rusted just here. I'm not game enough to fix that unless I solder it. Right where the exhaust comes out too. Anyway, we'll still give her a go. What we're waiting for is it to come out here, so in the meantime I'll put some water in it while we wait. Okay, everyone, it's got a good leak here, as I said before, and it's just dripping into the carburetor, so I don't think it'll keep up, but we'll try. The radiator is leaking water, but of course it's pulled forward. That pipe's just come away from the neck, but it's got enough in it to run it. So I'll see what she does for a little bit. See if we can get a bit of warmth through her, just so you can all see it run that once more, and then we'll fold the video up. No choke, see what she does. You can see where that leak is there. Of course that radiator's pulled forward. Pull that pipe away. That clamp's just come off that neck. That's easy fix. Solder that up at the top there. Obviously can't see if it drives yet because she's up on a block at the front. That's pretty good since 1970, 71 I think. I don't even think it's missing now. Smooth as buggery. Yeah, I'm not real keen on. All over that starter. How that kept going is anyone's guess. Disconnected the earth and everything. So the old tank's buggered. Not going to give her another go because that's dripping directly on that starter. I'd say with the vibration she's shaking the rust out of her and she's leaking more and more, so that's 2 good leaks that tank's got. I could solder it. Fill it with water, I suppose. Good to get a bit of warmth through them like that when they've sat so long. Okay everyone, hope you enjoyed that. There's still a lot of money to spend on it, like the tank, the radiator, those things can be repaired, but it still needs wheels obviously. Those air cleaner parts, ignition parts, there's still a fair bit to do to it. The fuel bowl, exhaust system, I think you can buy all that. This obviously had the one out the back. It needs a set of radiator hoses. Still needs a fair bit of money spent on it, but I don't know, over time I might put $100 here and there into her and get it mobile, but it's definitely worth it because it runs, but will I do that? Not straight away. I might just buy a bit here and there, but anyway, thank you. Thanks for everyone for watching. Thank you channel members. I've done a behind the scenes one for you on this without spoiling it. That'll be released before this, and thanks for everyone for liking, subscribing and watching, and see you all in the next one.